is up, guys, and welcome to the Strength of Body and Mind podcast. My name is Gordon. I'm going to be your host, and this is episode 83. And listen, if you are new to the podcast, thank you so much for listening. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Stoked you're here, actually. And do me a favor, if you listen to this and you get value out of this, and I believe that you will, please do me a favor, go over to iTunes and leave me a rating and a review. And that actually goes for you who are longtime listeners. If you haven't done that yet, please. It helps me spread the word, spread awareness, and get the podcast out to more people. And it's completely free, so I rely on your word of mouth. And if you've gotten any value out of this, again, please, that would just be a huge favor for me. So let's jump right in. It is currently January 2019. So I hope if you have a resolution that you're acting on it. I don't have anything against resolutions. I don't personally think that people who set resolutions as a quote unquote actual resolution for as far as weight loss goes and fitness, I don't think they're typically in the right mindset. If they were, they wouldn't be setting resolutions anyway, which is why most people fail on them. And that's a conversation that I'll probably save for another time. I have a lot of thoughts on that. And really, there's a lot of data behind it too. So it's not just me. But anyway, if you are currently acting towards a resolution, you're taking action towards a resolution that you set in 2018 to lose weight or put on weight or, good weight I'm talking about, or build muscle or get in shape in some way or achieve some fitness result, then I applaud you for continuing to act towards that. And I sincerely hope that you are actually making progress. If you have not set a resolution and you're not in that boat, but you're just working towards a goal, then I'm also stoked for you. And you have my full support behind that. Because if you're not moving forward at all, you're moving backwards. Okay, I say that all the time. So if you're not moving forward at all, and even if you're moving forward a little bit, that is something, and something is better than nothing. So anyway, it's January, which means we're only about 5 months out from summertime, at least here in the United States. I know I have listeners in in Australia and other parts of the world where it's actually summer right now. But anyway, summer's only 5 months away, guys. Okay, 5 months away. Now, being a fitness coach and being in this space, I talk to a lot of people around this time of year, as you can imagine. Usually I pick up new clients and people have a lot of ambitions in January and the end of December and January and all times of the year. But this is like a particularly hot time of year for people to try and get into fitness mode. And one of the things that comes up a lot is summer bodies. They want a summer body. New clients want a summer body. And I think that's amazing. That's an amazing reason. That's an amazing source of fuel or energy that drives the ambition to make a change. Okay. And the reason why I love that energy this time of year is because it actually takes effort to get there. And usually if you're not starting around now, around January, maybe February, March at the absolute latest, but it really depends on your body composition. If you're not starting that early, then you will not have a summer body. Okay. So just a real quick rant, usually in like May, right around May, maybe Easter, like April, you start to see things like body boot camps pop up, like these 8-week body boot camps and 6-week body boot camps to get you summer ready. And I'm here to tell you that those are not realistic. Okay. If you are intending on waiting until April or waiting until May to get yourself into summer shape, I'm here to tell you that is not enough time. That is not realistic. And you're going to be rushing to try and achieve something that honestly, again, for most of you, not achievable in 6 weeks or 8 weeks. Okay. It's just the case. But I have a question for you, because summer's only 5 months away. So are you ready for it? Are you ready for summer? Are you one of those people where when summer comes around each year that you're pissed off because you don't look amazing when you take your shirt off at the pool or when you take your shirt off at the beach or when you're outside and you're just revealing more of your body than normal? Maybe you're wearing a tank top, maybe you're just wearing shorts or something and you're just you're more exposed than normal. Are you one of those people that gets pissed off and annoyed and frustrated when you were in that situation? Because I know I was for the longest time, and I talk to people all the time, and that's one of the biggest things that bothers them is summer, is having to wear clothes like that where more of their body is exposed than normal. And I'm not even talking about taking your shirt off completely at the pool if you're a guy, or wearing a bikini, or wearing a bathing suit, even if it's like a one piece. If you're a woman, it does, and it's not even what I'm talking about. I'm really just like scratching the surface with things like tank tops and shorts, right? Because that alone is enough to bother a lot of people when they're self-conscious about their body because they don't like the way they look. Are you one of those people? Do you hate that it's so hot out in the summertime and humid, and that you are out of shape and you are overweight, and that all of that is just enhanced and exaggerated because it's hot out? That's another thing that I see a lot, and I was one of those people who experienced that every single year. It's just how frustrating and annoying it was, and disappointing, honestly, that I hated the summer. I hated being outside, knowing that I was so out of shape that the heat was just going to make things worse. And it did. It did make things worse. I was always just like exhausted and fatigued much more easily because it was so hot, and I had a lot more weight to carry around. And then all the other things came in, like feeling self-conscious and lacking that confidence because I hated the way my body looked, and I hated the way I showed up. I hated the way I presented myself. Are you one of those people? Are you experiencing that? Do you hate going to cookouts in the summer? Because honestly, let's be real here. Cookouts typically have tons of junk food, right? That's like pretty much all they are. There's always that one person who brings like a fruit bowl or like a veggie tray, but everything else, which never gets eaten really, but everything else is like burgers, hot dogs, and chips and cookies and all that kind of stuff. And then, at the end of the day, like most people, no matter what state you're in, you end up going and you end up binging on some of this stuff, right? Maybe you have a couple burgers, whatever, you have a few beers, and it's only a few beers, right? Right? It's just a few beers, right? But at the end of the day, when you experience that, do you hate the fact that your day was basically thrown away because you went to this cookout and you ate like 3,000 calories in food that you were not looking forward to eating, and you were not looking forward to taking that stuff down? Because that's another common thing. I see that all the time. And that's a really hard one because you're going to be around people that you love. You're going to be around people that you enjoy being around, typically friends, family, whatever. And the problem of being out of shape and the problem of having this body that you aren't proud of and that you don't like and that you need to work towards fixing and changing in order to be happy with it, going to cookouts and things like that are completely counter to your objective, right? To your goal. So are you currently experiencing that year in and year out because you aren't addressing the main problem? Look, I'm just going to call it right out, okay? If you are experiencing this stuff, I'm going to call you out specifically because chances are you aren't actually happy with the way things are. Maybe you're carrying around 20 extra pounds, 30 extra pounds, 40, 50, 60, hell, maybe it's 100 extra pounds. Maybe you're carrying that around. You aren't happy with that. And summer's just 5 months away. So all the things you have to look forward to is everything that I just described. Heat, humidity, wearing smaller clothes, more revealing clothes. Because if you don't, let's be honest, if you don't wear shorts, and depending on where you live, I guess, but if you don't wear shorts and you don't wear short sleeves or tank tops or something, you're going to experience like, I don't know, heat stroke or something. You're going to be so uncomfortable. It's not like you can wear long pants outside. So you're kind of forced to wear smaller clothes. And people who are overweight don't like wearing smaller clothes and revealing more of their body. Okay. Now, obviously you got the outliers here and there, but for the most part, guys, chances are if you're overweight, and you are not where you want to be, you're not comfortable showing off what you have. And sometimes you're forced to. And I understand it. I'm calling it out like this because I understand it, because I've been there. And I work with so many people who have been there. And the good news is, it doesn't have to stay that way. The good news is, the only thing stopping you from actually changing all of that, from getting the body that you want, from actually losing the weight and building the muscle that you want to build, the only thing stopping that is you. The only thing stopping that is your decision making. That's it. Your decision making. The decision making that you start deploying immediately, and honestly, your belief system. What do you believe is possible? What do you believe is possible? I have a handful of clients right now who across the board want to lose very different amounts of weight, from over 100 pounds down to like 30 pounds. And some of them have a really hard time understanding and truly believing that they can achieve that goal, because they have so many years of being in that state that it has locked in this mental perspective that they can only achieve what they are, or like just a little bit less than what they are, like lose a little bit more weight and put themselves in a state where they're lighter than they are now, but not by a significant margin. And that's just a limiting belief that they've planted and harvested over the years. But once we're able to break that down, we can get them to a point where they understand that really anything is possible. So that's what I want for you. I want you to understand the same thing. Whatever state you are in now, if you're 100 pounds overweight, you're 100 pounds overweight, you want to lose that 100 pounds, but every time you try, you lose 8, 9, 10, 12, and then you put it all back on. That's not from lack of trying. Okay, that's not from lack of trying. That's not what's going on. What's going on is that you don't actually believe deep down that you can achieve the thing you want to achieve. It's not that you just lose motivation. Yes, that happens. Okay, but it's not that you just lose motivation, that you just lose discipline. The thing is, you don't truly believe deep down that you can achieve the big picture goal. Okay, because as soon as it gets hard and you end up quitting, it's not because you don't know what to do. And it's not because you can't get there. It's because you don't believe that you can get there. You don't believe that you can actually achieve the big picture goal. And I've seen this over and over and over again. And even if you think that you believe how to get there and that you believe that you can get there, most of the time when people say that, they say the words, but they don't actually believe it. And that's really it. It's that simple. It's that limiting belief. It's that minor limiting belief. And it causes things like self-sabotage, and it causes things like one cheat meal to turn into a cheat week or a cheat month, or to just give up completely. It's self-sabotage based on lack of belief, lack of true belief and faith in achieving what it is they want to achieve. Because let's be honest, if you were in the state where you believed no matter what that you could and were going to achieve that goal, then the discipline would just follow naturally. Like if you truly believed that I'm going to get this thing, I'm committed to getting this thing, I will achieve it, I believe it, I can visualize it, then you will actually achieve it. And you won't get into this thing where you'll self-sabotage by eating pizzas and then pizzas turning into all this other stuff. So the reason I'm even talking about this, there's kind of a sidebar, but the reason I'm even talking about this is because chances are you are in a situation where you're unhappy with your body. Okay, very likely if you're listening to this podcast, you are in a situation where you want to change something. You want to develop in some way. You want to lose weight. You want to put on muscle. You want to change something. You aren't currently totally happy and totally thrilled with your body. Okay, so what do we do? It is currently January. If you are listening to this at the time of the recording or the time of the airing, then you have an advantage, okay? Because this is my call to arms, I guess, if you will, to remind you that your summer body that you want starts now. If you want to look like, I don't know, a Greek god or a Greek goddess, all right, I know how that sounds, but if that's your goal, if you really want that, don't be ashamed of that. I see that too many times. People want to be shredded on the beach in the summer. It's a very common goal. The thing is, it's kind of taboo. Not a lot of people like to talk about it because they feel shallow. All right. That's also something that stems from another set of limiting beliefs. Okay. That's a growth mindset restrictor, or a growth mindset barrier, is to think that that is shallow. But if you want that, don't be ashamed of that. Admit that. If you want to be shredded, you want to be like 12% body fat, 10% body fat on the beach, you want a six pack, you want all of it, because I'll be honest, more people want that than you think, and more people will hold that in and not admit it than you think. But anyway, if you want that, it starts now. Okay. If you want that now, even if you don't, even if you truly do not want that, like you just want to lose a lot of weight, you want to be thin or trim or somehow in better shape than you are now in some state, it starts now. It starts in the winter. Okay, this is the perfect time to jump on this. Not May, not April. It's right now. So let's get a little more specific, okay? Think about how much weight it is you want to lose. Okay. Or what specifically it is you want to change. Do you want to lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds? Again, do you want that Greek god or Greek goddess look? Do you want to build vascularity? Do you want to build muscle mass? Do you want to look chiseled? Do you want low body fat percent? Whatever it is, again, it starts now, but it also takes effort. Now, you already know that. It takes effort. Yeah, I get it. But no, listen, it takes real effort, okay? Real effort. A lot of people think that at any time they could just start working out and they already quote unquote know how to eat correctly or whatever. And they could do it any time, right? I hear that all the time. I could do that whenever I wanted. I just don't feel like it right now. I could do that whenever I wanted. I just don't feel like it right now. And the truth is, if you're saying that, that means you can't do it. Okay, that means you can't do it. That means you either don't know how, you lack confidence, or you aren't motivated enough because of whatever reason, one of a million different reasons. But it takes real effort. Okay, real effort means sacrifice. It means, just like anything else you're trying to build, it means enduring pain. Okay, it means enduring pain. It means enduring mental pain. It means enduring, in some ways, physical pain. Okay, let's talk about what it might take if you're trying to lose a substantial amount of weight. What it might take for you to do that is to dial in, for maybe the first time in your life, a macronutrient profile that caters to your goal. All right, being consistent for the first time in your life in calories, being consistent for the first time in your life in protein, carbs, fats, and not just hitting the numbers, but hitting the numbers from the right sources. Okay. A potato is not a sweet potato. Chicken is not beef. Like, understanding how food works, understanding how protein from one source is not identical to protein from another source, understanding how simple carbs versus complex carbs, they behave very differently in your body. When to take them, because timing does matter for carbohydrates. It definitely matters. When to take them, how much to consume, what happens to protein, dietary protein in your body, like relative to when you trained, and how much can you digest, and how does it transfer to essential amino acids to rebuild muscle? All those things, right? Learning all those things and practicing all those things correctly takes effort. And doing that and understanding it, at least at an elementary level, is absolutely necessary if you actually want to achieve some kind of goal that relates to looking good in the summertime and feeling good. Okay. It's not always about looking good. It's also about feeling confident and feeling empowered because of the way you look and because of you loving and appreciating the way you look. Okay. Here's some of the other things: having total effort invested and being knowledgeable, again, at least at an elementary level, around things like cardio and training, how to do those things. Yes, I know that you probably know how to jump on a treadmill and run, and you probably have some experience in the gym, or you could at least look it up online. But how much do you really know? Think a little bit deeper. Just dive into the next level. You know how to do curls, you know how to do bench press, you know how to do all those basic lifts, right? But why do you do them? And do you give a lot of thought to things like grip and the repetition tempo and how long should I rest for? Because if you haven't given the thought to any of those things, I'm telling you right now, those things all matter. Those things all matter, and they separate people who are very successful from those who are not successful, is the little details. So whatever you think you know about training, you might, because you have a lot of experience, but chances are you actually don't know as much as you think you do. And that's important. And learning that takes effort. And then also practicing it over and over again to get good at it, to actually get the result that you want out of it, takes effort. Okay. Supplementation, understanding of supplementation, that takes effort. Okay. The biggest thing though is the grit, right? The grit that it takes to get through this, to achieve whatever goal it is you want to achieve that summer body, that takes grit and the mindset to endure it. So when I say grit, basically it's like toughness, right? How much can you handle? You know, you might only be training like 4 days a week or 5 days a week. That's fine. But after week 4, you know, it might get hard. After day 43, it might get really challenging. Day 61, day 79, it gets very difficult. And if you don't have the ability to withstand it and endure it, then chances are you don't actually deserve the end result. Okay. But there's a way to deal with this. Okay. And obviously, yes, it starts with wanting the goal bad enough, wanting the objective bad enough, but also it comes down to your proximity, your community, your group, your network, your circle. Those things are extremely important, because when you're doing something like this, and I've talked about this in the past, when you're doing something like this and you're trying to go after a big picture result in fitness and health, and you're trying to lose 30, 40, 50, 100 pounds, which, by the way, just real quick on weight loss, like a healthy rate of weight loss is anywhere from like a half a pound to a pound per week. So if you're losing at that rate, then that's great. If you're losing at a rate over a pound per week, like between 1 and 2 pounds, I would consider that accelerated loss. And that is definitely something achievable by most people, but not everybody. It depends on so many factors, but it's not really going to happen more than that. If you're losing more than 2 pounds per week, then chances are you're crash dieting and you've got way more problems down the road than you think. But anyway, so if you want to lose 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 pounds, then it could take anywhere from 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 weeks. Okay. You need to think about it like that. So yeah, if you're trying to lose 100 pounds, it could take that long. It could take almost 2 years, right? But it might not. Okay. It might not really, honestly. It depends on how hard you want to work, how much grit you have, and how much you can endure over and over and over and over again. I've actually seen plenty of people struggle to lose 10 when their goal is really only 20 pounds. I've seen plenty of people do that. And you would think that 10 or 20 pounds is not that difficult to achieve. But on the flip side, I've seen people who want to lose 100 pounds have great success up to that 50, 60, 70 pound mark and then struggle to get the last 30. And the problem is that once you get a certain percent, it all comes down to percentages, right? When you get over that 50%, 60%, 70% mark towards your goal, it just gets so much harder mentally. See it over and over and over again. And the reason that most people never achieve their true objective is because they don't have the grit to endure that last few percent. Okay. But if you're trying to get a summer body and you're starting now in January, just know that you could very well lose, that's like 5 months. It's like 20 weeks. You could very easily lose 20 plus pounds between now and June. That's very possible. In fact, if you really worked and you really endured the pain over and over and over again, I'm not talking about starvation. All right. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about consistent eating, doing all the right things, training consistently, drinking water consistently, like all the little things, and just paying attention, not cheating, stuff like that. You do that consistently over time, then you can achieve this result. Okay. But it takes the mindset to do it. And then again, I'm just going to repeat this one more time. It takes that enduring of mental pain, enduring of, in some ways, physical pain, right? The trauma in your muscles from lifting weights or working out and having to take rest days and all this stuff, right? Like that is part of the process. And the more you can endure that, the more results you can get. So you could very easily lose 20 to 30 pounds between now and June. And if that's what you need to lose to get the summer body that you want, then start now. I encourage you to start now because June will be here before you know it. And you have really two choices, either do it or don't do it. And so when June rolls around, do you want to be able to, and by the way, June's going to be here like in no time. So do you want to look back and say, wow, I'm really glad I made that choice. I feel amazing now. I look fucking amazing now. I feel so good when I'm at the beach and I can take my shirt off and I actually feel like a god now. I feel like a Greek god. I feel like Atlas now or something. Or do you want to look back and say, I'm really glad that I ate pizza in the winter instead, and that I ate ice cream in the winter instead, and that I didn't do any of this stuff. And now here I am, another summer, overweight again, hating going to the beach again, hating going to cookouts, hating going to the pool, hating being outside, because again, the heat and humidity just makes me feel worse. You have that choice. You have that choice right now. So I encourage you, if you are in that situation right now and you feel like this is the year you have to make this transition to the summer body that you want, then I encourage you, go into the show notes of this podcast episode, fill out a Mind Body Academy initial application. The link is in the show notes again. And let's jump on a call. Let's talk about your goals, and we'll put together a game plan to actually get you from where you're at now to where you want to go. Okay. It's that simple. We'll jump on a call, be like 45 minutes. It'll be one of the best time investments you have ever spent on your health and fitness. And if at the end of that call, then you feel, and I feel like it's a good idea for us to work together to help you get there, great. Maybe we'll do that. If not, then that's cool too. It's not a big deal. But either way, if you're struggling, you really want that summer body, you really want to have that Greek god appearance, I totally get that. I resonate with that 100%. Then let's jump on a call. Fill out a Mind Body Academy initial application. It is in the show notes of this podcast. So anyways, guys, if you got value out of this, if this resonated with you at all, please go over to iTunes and leave a review of the podcast. I would appreciate it. I love reading the feedback, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. I don't care. I want to know what it is that you loved and hated about the podcast. And again, you can do that on iTunes. A rating and review goes a long way. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. And as always, train with purpose, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode.